वक्रतुण्ड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। अनंत संसार समुद्रतार नौकायिताभ्यां गुरुभक्तिदाभ्यां वैराग्यसाम्राजद पूजनाभ्यां नमो नमः श्रीगुरुपादुकाभ्यां नमो नमः श्रीगुरुपादुकाभ्यां नमो नमः श्रीगुरुपादुकाभ्याम्। सर्वचैतन्यरूपान्ताम् आद्यां विद्यां च धीमहि बुद्धिं यानः प्रचोदयात्। कारणपरचिद्रूपा काञ्चीपुरसीम्नि कामपीठगता काचन विहरति करुणा काश्मीरस्तबककोमलाङ्गलता। अरुणां करुणां तरङ्गिताक्षी धृतपाशाङ्कुश पुष्पबाणचापा अणिमादिभिरावृतां मयूखैः अहम् इति विभावये भवानी। बोलो जगन माता की जय। I first offer my most humble prostrations to the lotus feet of my Master. It is indeed the grace of my Master's feet that have given me this audacity to expound on Lalitha Sahasranamam, offering my pure love to my beloved Divine Mother and my heartfelt gratitude to my Divine Master. I will continue with wherever we left off last time. So reviewing back, Hayagri Rishi is expounding on the charitra of the Divine Mother who has taken the form as Lalitha Devi, and he is describing the charitra. In the description we saw how Bhandasur was created by one of the Pramat Ganas, Chitrakarma, and how Bhandasur created Vishukra, Vishang and Dhumika, and how he took over the three worlds by permeating into the very essence of the three worlds. And then we also talked about how the Devas, after losing their power, after becoming completely Niras, Ras is the essence, after losing their essence, were just sitting completely depressed. That's when Narad Rishi came and guided them as to life is full of ups and downs. When the life is in the up, sadhana should be done more powerfully, so that when times are rough, you can bank on those times. So even if during the low times you're not able to perform the sadhana as you would be able to perform in the high times, at least perform whatever you can, because that will eventually have a snowball effect and your sadhana will again come back to normal. So they took the advice of Narad Rishi and they continued their sadhana with whatever they could to please the Divine Mother. And it is just based on the efforts, that little bit of efforts that the Devas put in towards their sadhana, that Lord Vishnu led them beyond the three worlds which were permeated by Bhandasur, led them beyond the three worlds by opening the doors. He ordered the Dikpals to open the doors to the fourth dimension, which is beyond the three worlds. And over there, they got the darshan of Parashambhu as the Jyotirling. And after their stutis, Parashambhu took a form of Lord Shiva along with Parachiti, his consort. And then he said, now I'm going to come as your guru and do the Mahayag. And then he performed the Mahayag and he asked all of them to jump in, and from that Agni emerged the Divine Mother as Lalitha Devi. The most important concept here is, no matter what little bit of sadhana we can do in the given conditions that we are currently in, wherever we are currently, whatever little bit of sadhana we can do, we should do, because that is what will get us the grace of Lord Vishnu or God, will get us to the grace of the Divine Mother, because it's only with the grace of God that we will meet the Guru, who is nothing but Parashambhu himself. And it's only the Guru's knowledge. Guru is nothing but fire of knowledge. It's only his fire of knowledge that can be used to light the fire of knowledge within us. There is no outside fire that can light the fire of knowledge within us, which is why it is Chidagni or Samvit Agni. And that's what Parashambhu does. He lights the fire of knowledge. And when in that fire of knowledge, after being lit by the Master, what are we supposed to do? Our main sadhana is to continuously keep offering our ego. As in, how we just wake up in the morning. As soon as we wake up, I did this, I woke up, I took a shower, I ate breakfast, I went to work. I. That I needs to continuously be offered in that fire of knowledge that is lit by the Guru, by the Master. Continuously offering our ahankar, continuously offering our sense of individuality in that fire of knowledge, and naturally moving towards humility, naturally losing our personality to the magnanimous presence of the Divine Master. So that is the significance of Mahayag. This Mahayag, when done at a cosmic level, at the macrocosmic level, is Mahayaga Kramaradhya. That is one of the names of the Divine Mother in Lalita Sahasranamam, Mahayaga Kramaradhya. Kram is the sequence, the one who is worshipped by the sequence of Mahayag, performed by Parashambhu. Mahayaga Kramaradhya Mahabhairava Pujita. Mahabhairav is Parashambhu. Mahabhairava Pujit, the one who is worshipped by Parashambhu. That's one of the names. So as we go through a little bit of Lalitopakyan, most of the names of the Divine Mother in Lalita Sahasranam come directly from Lalitopakyan. So Mahayaga Kramaradhya, Mahabhairava Pujita. So this is Mahayag being performed at the macrocosmic level. The same yag, when is performed within us at the various chakras, completely inside at the microcosmic level, is Raho Yag, Rahastarpana Tarpita. That's another name in Lalita Sahasranam. So Mahayaga and Raho Yag. So those were at the macrocosmic and microcosmic level. So today it's indeed such a blessed day that we are now going to these are not just stories that we are listening to. This is the Divine Mother appearing within our own hearts. Padme sthitam padmavarnam. Padme sthitam, that is from Sri Suktam. Padme sthitam, she resides in the lotus of our heart. And this Mahayag, the Mahayag ignited by the Master, and wherein we keep offering our ego, opens this lotus up. And from within this lotus emerges the Divine Mother. So, while we listen to how the Divine Mother emerged from that Mahayag, let us do the bhavana. Let us listen to this with the sentiment that she is in fact emerging as Lalita Devi, as Lalita Mahatripur Sundari within our own hearts. Let whatever you're listening today, let that be the meditation. Let that be the true meditation of her emerging within your own hearts. So after all the devas jumped in, from that fire emerged the Divine Mother. But there is a sequence that the emerging process followed. The very first thing that happened is, from that Samvit Agni or Chidagni Kunda Sambhota Devakarya Samudyata. She rose. How? Like Sahasrabha. Udyat Bhanu Sahasrabha. Udyat is the rising sun. Bhanu is rising sun. Udyat Bhanu Sahasrabha. As if 1,000 suns were rising. From that fire came a Jyoti or a Kanti Swarup. That Prakashmaya Jyoti Swarup was completely red like 1,000 rising suns. Udyat Bhanu Sahasrabha. And as the Jyoti Swarup of the Divine Mother was nothing but beautiful red light. That in that red light, slowly a form started emerging. That red light, first all the devas emerged back from the Divine Mother's body. From that red light, first the devas came out, who had all jumped in. Now they were completely Matrumaya. Their entire bodies, every fiber of their being was soaked in Mother's energy, Mother's love, Mother's presence. So when the Divine Master lights or ignites the fire of knowledge within us, and we continuously keep offering our aham bhav, our ahankar within it, the Divine Mother slowly starts emerging. And when the devas emerge from her, they are they have completely dissolved their personality and have become her magnanimous presence. So all the devas emerged from that red light. Now Parashambhu and all the devas were standing around that Yajna Kund with folded hands, watching that Kanti Swarup, watching that Jyoti Swarup slowly take a form. That Jyoti Swarup, in that light, emerging from that Kanti, Punj, from that light they saw the entire Brahmand being lit by that light. Not just lit by that light, the entire Brahmand being nothing but that light. For a second, just imagine sunlight coming from a window. How that sunlight has multiple particles in it. Similarly, in her light, in the light emerging from that Kanti Punj, the entire Brahmand was seen. Now, the particles that are present in the sunlight, are they separate from the sunlight? No, they are completely permeated by the sunlight. And since they are completely permeated by the sunlight, they are not different from the sunlight. Similarly, that Kanti Punj, when it came out of the Yajna Kund, that Kanti Punj, the Prakash from the Kanti Punj was completely permeating the entire creation. So the Devas witnessed the entire creation soaked up in her light, emerging from her light, permeated by her light. Nijaruna Prabhapura Majjat Brahmanda Mandala. That's the name of the mother in Lalita Sahasranamam. Nijaruna Prabhapura Majjat Brahmanda Mandala. Nij is the ultimate truth. Nij Aruna. Arun is the sun. We are not here talking about the sun. We are talking about the Nij Arun, the ultimate sun, which is the source of light for all the suns in the solar system, of all the solar systems. We are talking about that sun, and that sun is the one that has just emerged from that Yajna Kunda. That is the sun we are talking about. Nijaruna Prabha. Prabha is the light. Light emerging from that sun. Udyat Bhanu Sahasrabha. Such was the light of that Kanti Punj. Like 1,000 suns have just risen. And Nijaruna Prabha Pura. Pura is flood. Nijaruna Prabha Pura, the flood of that light emerging from that Nijaruna, Nij Aruna. How was that? Nijaruna Prabha Pura Majjat Brahmanda Mandala. Majjat is completely immersed. Brahmanda Mandala, not just one Brahmanda. No matter how many Brahmands are there, Mandala is the entire group of Brahmanda. That's the name, that's the meaning of the name Nijaruna Prabhapura Majjat Brahmanda Mandala. So from that Kanti Punj, the Devas after emerging were watching with folded hands with Parashambhu, and they saw that from that light the entire creation was permeated by that light. Nijaruna Prabhapura Majjat Brahmanda Mandala. And then that Kanti Punj slowly started taking a form. It slowly started taking a form of a Shri Yantra, as a Meru Yantra, with multiple levels to it. From the Trailokya Mohan Chakra all the way to the Baindava Vasini, to the Bindu. And at the Bindu Sthan is the place of the Divine Mother. And slowly that beautiful Sri Chakra took the form of 4 arms. The first 4 arms appeared. Udyat Bhanu Sahasrabha Chaturbahu Samanvita. Chaturbahu, 4 arms, Samanvita. 4 arms appeared. Slowly that Kantipunj that had taken the form of a Shri Yantra then started taking the form of the Divine Mother. This is called the Rupa Dhyan of the Mother. 4 arms, 2 upper arms and 2 lower arms. In the 2 upper arms, so Shri Mata, Shri Maharagni, Shri Matsimhasaneshwari, the Mother who is eternally present. For a sadhak, she starts emerging. What kind of sadhak? The sadhak in whom the Master has ignited the fire of knowledge, and the sadhak who is continuously offering his ahankar, aham bhav, in that fire. In such a sadhak's heart, the Divine Mother appears as Udyat Bhanu Sahasrabha Chaturbahu Samanvita Raga Swarupa Pashadhya Krodhakarankushojjvala Manorupekshukodanda Panchatanmatra Sayaka. In one arm she is holding Raga Swarupa Pashadhya. Pash, Adya is holding. Pash is a rope. That rope, she is holding a rope in one arm. In the other arm, she is holding an ankush. The top 2 arms, one is a rope, one is an ankush. The bottom 2 arms, one she is holding a sugar cane, and the other she is holding 5 flowers. Now let's go into each of these. In one arm, she is holding a rope, Raga Swarupa Pashadhya, and that rope is symbolic of Rag. So let's first understand Rag, Dvesh, mind, and the Panchatanmatras. What is the function? So the mind is symbolic of the sugar cane that she is holding, which actually signifies the bow, and the arrows are that of the senses. The senses by themselves, the arrows by themselves are of no use until and unless an arrow is mounted on a bow and released. It's of no use. For example, you might be listening to this exposition right now, but if your mind is somewhere else, thinking of something else, the words have no meaning. You haven't grasped anything because the mind, the bow, is not present. It is only when the mind comes in contact with the 5 senses, something materializes. So the mind continuously keeps coming in contact with this external world using its 5 senses. The 5 senses are like the employees of the mind. The mind uses the 5 senses and keeps experiencing the duality that each sense presents. For example, taste. The mind comes in contact with various foods through the sense of taste. Depending upon what it likes, it has 2 compartments, Rag and Dvesh. Depending upon this particular taste that it likes, if it likes that taste, it will put it in the Raga compartment, which is attachment, Anurag, Rag. If it doesn't like the taste, it will put that type of food in the Dvesh compartment. Similarly, the mind comes in contact with the sense of smell and classifies certain smells as rag and certain smells as dvesh. Then the mind comes in contact with sense of touch and then classifies certain touch as acceptable and pleasing and certain as unacceptable and non-pleasing. Similarly, it uses the sense of sight and it continuously keeps looking at things in the world and classifies them as rag, puts them in the compartment of pleasing and non-pleasing. This is not just one lifetime. From many lifetimes, it holds these two compartments. And it continuously keeps gathering more stuff in the rag and the dvesh. So the job of the mind is to use the arrows, go out in the world and continuously keep grabbing things and putting them in either in the rag compartment or the dvesh compartment. So now let's understand what is rag and what is dvesh. So the mind is such that it continuously tries to live in the rag compartment. It continuously seeks out for experiences that are already present in the rag compartment because the mind has already classified them to be pleasing. The dvesh compartment is the one that the mind thinks are not pleasing and will try to avoid those experiences at any cost. But if those experiences show up in life, the mind instantly gets angry. Anger and resentment emerge in the mind because now the mind walks with a conditioned idea. The conditioning is, I should only experience everything from within the pleasing compartment. Nothing from the non-pleasing compartment should come in front of me. If any experience from the non-pleasing compartment were to be encountered by the mind, anger and resentment would arise. So this is the mind, the senses, the rag and the dvesh. Now let's see what the Divine Mother is holding. Her form is Tatvik Chintan. We have to understand why she holds everything. Ragas Swarupa Pashadya. All these likes are pash. They tie us. Right? If the mind only wants to experience whatever it has in that compartment, it is such a shackle. It's like the mind saying, I do not like Karela. And no matter how many people are trying to say, just try it and see, it's really good, but the mind has a shackle around it. It says, no, I do not like that taste, I will not eat it. So it's a condition. Conditioning is chains, shackles. Ragas Swarupa Pashadya. So Pash is a rope that ties us. So she is that Pash, not the one that ties, but the one that releases. How is that? She basically unties all the shackles of the mind and ties us in her rope of bhakti, in her rope of devotion. When our only rag, our only liking is the Divine Mother, then that raga swarupa pashadya, that's how sadhana will progress. The mind's hold on the rag will start to loosen, and the mother's hold on the rag will start to strengthen. Raga swarupa pashadya. Next, Krodhakarankushojvala. Ankush. Ankush is a weapon used to control elephants. She is holding an Ankush, and that Ankush is symbolic of anger or Ragaswarupa Pashadhya Krodhakarankushojvala. Ujjvala is it is so, she is holding it so brightly, it is prakashmay, that ankush that she is holding. And what is that symbolic of? It is symbolic of anger. Because only when the hold of the mind on us starts to fade, her strength, her presence starts to strengthen within us. She starts holding the anger, saying, don't get angry. This is just the mind trying to react. So then we start having a control over our anger because of her emergence within us, her invocation within us. To detach from something lower, we need to attach to something higher. The lower self is the mind, the higher self is the mother. So as the sadhana progresses, our likes become so concentrated that our like is nothing but the Divine Mother. And because she is everything, we really have no more likes and dislikes. We are just okay. The state of equanimity arrives. And the krodhakarankushojvala, when we are not swayed between our likes and dislikes, then the anger starts to lose grip. Because anger arises from the lower self. When the lower self starts detaching, the anger is held in control by the ankush that she is holding. Ragaswarupa pashadhya krodhakarankushojvala manorupa ikshukodanda. Ikshu is the sugar cane. Kodand is the bow. The bow of sugar cane that she holds signifies the mind. Why the sugar cane? Because when the magnanimous presence of the Divine Mother, when the magnanimous presence of Her Majesty takes over within us, the mind becomes sweet like sugar cane. No matter where you take a bite, it's nothing but sweetness. Such is the state of the mind, completely taken over by the Divine Mother. Ragaswarupa pashadhya krodhakarankushojvala manorupa ikshukodanda panchatanmatra sayaka. And the five senses are under her perfect control. Because now she has the bow, she has the arrows, she has already closed up the compartments of likes and dislikes. So the only liking the sadhak has to the Divine Mother within, there are no dislikes, so there is no anger. Such a beautiful state. So she first appeared from that Kanti Punj as the Shri Yantra, and then the four arms. And then slowly from the top to the bottom, her form started emerging out of that Kanti Punj. And Hayagriv Rishi continues to describe. The very first thing described is her kabari bandh, or her hair. It is said that her hair, extremely dark, extremely curly, shiny, not sticky, shiny, extremely long, and naturally fragrant. She has it adorned with so many different type of flowers from various kalpavrikshas. It is said that the flowers compete amongst each other to get to her hair. So they may learn from her hair how to be fragrant. The flowers of kalpavrikshas get their fragrance from the Divine Mother's hair. Extremely curly, extremely soft, extremely shiny, naturally fragrant, beautifully braided with so many flowers. That's Divine Mother's hair. Completely, her hair is full of flowers because she is so kind. She's so loving to those flowers who try to reach her. She allows for all the flowers that have reached her to be on her hair. With that, some of the flowers are emerging from behind her ear. And then is described her mukut. So continuing on, Chaturbahu Samanvita Raga Swarupa Pashadya Krodhakarankushojvala Manorupa Ikshukodanda Panchatanmatra Sayaka Nijaruna Prabha Pura Majjat Brahmanda Mandala. And then Champaka Ashoka Punnaga Saugandhika Lasatkacha. Champak, Ashok, Punnag, Saugandhik. 4 different types of flowers and many more. Champaka Ashoka Punnaga Saugandhika Lasat Kacha. Kacha is hair. And this name describes the Divine Mother's beautiful hair. Naturally soft, naturally fragrant, extremely dark, extremely curly, adorned with so many flowers. Champaka Ashoka Punnaga Saugandhika Lasatkacha Guruvinda Manishreni Kanat Kotira Mandita. She's wearing a mukut, a crown with Kuruvinda Mani. Kuruvinda Mani is Padmarag. They're red stones. Beautiful red gems are studded so close in a shreni, in a line, in beautiful sequence. She's wearing a mukut which has beautiful red gems placed in a sequence, and each of those red gems is each of the sun from so many solar systems. This is description of the Divine Mother as the universal body at the macrocosmic level, where this entire creation is her body. This is not just some female deity that we are talking about. We are talking about the Divine Mother. This entire creation is her body. And we are talking about the Vishva Vigraha. And this Vishva Vigraha, Champaka Ashoka Punnaga Saugandhika Lasatkacha Kuruvinda Manishreni Kanat Kotira Mandita. She is wearing all the suns that are there in the creation, in her mukut, in the crown. And then comes her forehead. Ashtami Chandra Vibhraja Dalika Sthala Shobhita. Ashtami ka Chandrama. Whether it is Krishna Paksh or Shukla Paksh, it's only the Ashtami that has the Chandrama in a perfect semicircle. Her forehead is that perfect semicircle of, that's why it's called Ashtami Chandra Vibhraja Dalika Sthala Shobhita. Her beautiful forehead, which is like the Ashtami Chandra. Ashtami Chandra Vibhraja Dalika Sthala Shobhita. Mukhachandra Kalankabha Mruganabhi Visheshaka. And on that beautiful forehead, she has the Kasturi Tilak. She has placed the Kasturi Tilak. Ashtami Chandra Vibhraja Talikasthala Shobhita Mukha Chandra Kalankabha Mruganabhi Visheshaka. Mukha Chandra, her entire face is like a Chandrama, like the moon. Mukha Chandra Kalankabha, like the kalank on the Chandrama. That's what makes the moon look so beautiful. Mukha Chandra Kalankabha Mruganabhi Visheshaka. And then description is that of her beautiful eyebrows. Her eyebrows are perfectly shaped, like that of the entryway to the palace of Kamdev. Kamdev, after being burnt by the third eye of Lord Shiva, he was given life by the Divine Mother. And Adiguru Shankaracharya talks about how he once went to the Divine Mother and he said, he has burnt me once. I just want to defeat him once. I just want to get him completely under that desire. But I know I cannot do it, but I know you can do it. So she very lovingly offered her face as the Rath, and her two eyebrows were the Dhanush, and the love of her eyes was the Baan that was used to completely make Lord Shiva mohit. So that is the beauty of her beautiful eyebrows, perfectly shaped. Mukhachandra Kalankabha Mruganabhi Visheshaka Vadana Smara Mangalya Grihatorana Chillika. Vadana Smara. Vadana is face. Smara is Kamdev. Vadana Smara Mangalya Grihatorana Chillika. Like the toran that we use at the entryway of the house. And that toran is supposed to be Mangalmay. Is supposed to attract auspiciousness. Her eyebrows are like that toran at the entryway of Kamdev that attract all kinds of auspiciousness. Vadanasmara Mangalya Gruhatorana Chillika Vaktra Lakshmi Parivaha Chalan Meena Bhalochana. Vaktra is face. And how was her face? Her face has continuous flow of Lakshmi, auspiciousness, of Aishwarya, of Sampada. It is not like a still lake. It is like a flowing river. Her face is like that of a flowing river. And that river is that of auspiciousness, Sampada, Aishwarya, Shreyas. And in that beautiful river, there are two fish that are swimming swiftly here and there. Those are her two eyes. Vaktra Lakshmi Parivaha. Vaktra is face, Lakshmi is auspiciousness, Parivaha is flow. Vaktra Lakshmi Parivaha Chalan Meena Bhalochana. Chalan is swift movement. Meena Bhalochana. Her eyes are like that of the two fish that are swiftly moving in this beautiful flow of auspiciousness in her face. Vaktra Lakshmi Parivaha Chalan Meena Bhalochana. Navachampaka Pushpabha Nasa Danda Virajita. Navachampaka Pushpabha. Like the champak flower, the bud of a champak flower is her nose. Navachampaka Pushpabha Nasa Danda Virajita. Tara Kanti Tiraskari Nasa Bharana Bhasura. And in her beautiful nose, which is like that of a bud of a champak flower, she is wearing on one side, on the right side, she is wearing a big nose ring which is studded with red jewels. All those red jewels are symbolic of all the suns in the creation, which is the Ida Nadi. On the left side, she is wearing a diamond studded nose stud, which is studded with many diamonds, which signifies all the moons that are present, and the Pingala Nadi. And in the center, she is wearing an ornament called Bulaki. That Bulaki has a pearl hanging at the end. That signifies the Sushumna Nadi. Mukhachandra Kalanka Bhamruganabhi Visheshaka Vadanasmara Mangalya Gruhatorana Chillika Vaktra Lakshmi Parivaha Chalan Meena Bhalochana Navachampaka Pushpa Bhanasa Danda Virajita Tara Kanti Tiraskari Nasa Bharana Bhasura. And the jewels in her nose, in the ornaments that she is wearing in her nose, they are so shiny that all the stars put together in one place would be easily defeated by the light emerging from the ornaments in her nose. Tara Kanti Tiraskari Nasa Bharana Bhasura. Kadamba Manjari Klupta Karnapura Manohara. Her hair is adorned with so many flowers that these flowers are now showing up from behind the ears. Kadamba Manjari Klupta Karnapura Manohara. Manjari is Guchha or Samuha. So many flowers are put together in small bundles, and those bundles are adorned in her hair. But those bundles of flowers are showing up from behind the ears, as if both her ears are completely adorned with those flowers. Kadamba Manjari Klupta Karnapura Manohara. And it is looking so manohar, as if it is just going to steal my heart, steal my mind. Kadamba Manjari Klupta Karnapura Manohara. Tatanka Yugali Bhuta Tapanodupa Mandala. And her two beautiful earrings. On the right side is a jhumka. The earrings that she wears is that of a jhumka, with so many little suns as the little beads at the end of that jhumka. It is studded with red stones, and little red stones are hanging from that jhumka. On one side, on the other side, so on one side she wears the Surya Mandal, all the suns. On the other left side she wears the Chandra Mandal. Tatanka Yugali Bhuta Tapana Udupa Mandala. Tapana is Surya, Udup is Chandrama. Tatanka is Jhumka. Tatanka Yugali is two. Tatanka Yugali Bhuta Tapana Udupa Mandala. And her cheeks, like the Padmarag ki Shila, Padmarag, the stone of Padmarag, if one surface of the Padmarag stone were to be polished, it would be transparent, shining, red. Such are her cheeks. Padmaraga Shila Darsha Paribhavi Kapola Bhuhu. Padmaraga Shila Darsha. Darsha is mirror. Padmaraga Shila. Shila is the stone. What kind of stone? Padmarag. Padmarag is a beautiful red stone. If you were to take a big piece of Padmarag and really polish one surface, make a mirror out of it, that's how her cheeks are. And in that mirror, what's shining? The two earrings. The light from the two earrings are bouncing off on those beautiful red cheeks. Padmaraga Shiladarsha Paribhavi Kapola Bhuhu. What a beautiful description of the Divine Mother. Tatanka Yugali Bhuta Tapanodupamandala Padmaraga Shiladarsha Paribhavi Kapola Bhuhu. And then is the description of Mother's lips. They are so red, like the bimba fruit, or like the cut bimba fruit. They are so red, naturally red. And in her mouth, she's chewing the tambul, which is the pan. And the fragrance of that pan is spreading to all corners of the creation. This is again the Vishva Vigraha of the Divine Mother. We are not describing some Stri Murti. We are describing our beloved Divine Mother and her Vishva Vigraha, wherein the entire creation is her body. Navavidruma Bimba Shri Nyakkari Radanachada. Navavidruma Bimba Shri. As if Vidrum, Navavidrum is just budding Vidrum or a Bimba Shri. Bimba is a red fruit, red flower of that fruit. That's how red. Well, they are comparing it to something that we can see, and then they are saying it's beyond that. Navavidruma Bimba Shri Nyakkari Radanachada. Nyakkari as in it is redder than that. But you can compare it to the Bimba fruit or a Navavidrum. Navavidruma Bimba Shri Nyakkari Radanachada. Shuddha Vidyankurakara Dvijapankti Dvayojvala. Shuddha Vidya Ankura Akara Dvija Pankti Dvayojvala. Her teeth, 16 on the top, 16 on the bottom, are the Shuddha Vidya. Ankur. Ankur is each bijakshar of that Shodashi mantra are her top teeth and bottom teeth. Shuddha Vidyankurakara Dvijapankti Dvayojvala. Karpura Vitikamoda Samakarsha Digantara. And the pan that she is chewing, Karpura Vitika, Amoda, not the fragrance. The fragrance is creating a type of amod, like as if the mind is being absorbed into a state of ecstasy. Such is the fragrance of the Karpura Vitika that she is chewing. Karpura Vitika Amoda Samakarsha Digantara. Digantara is all the directions in the creation are completely in ecstasy because of that smell, because of that fragrance. Karpura Vitikamoda Samakarshat Digantara. And then is the description of Mother's chin. In Lalitha Sahasranamam they say Anakalita Sadrisha Chibuka Shri Virajita. Anakalita. It cannot be compared. The beauty of the chin of the Divine Mother cannot be compared to anything. But in Saundarya Lahari, Adi Guru Shankaracharya says, Mother, your chin, your face, first of all, is like that of a mirror. So Shuddha. Whatever your bhav is, whatever a sadhak's bhav is, that's what is seen in your face. It is like a mirror. And that mirror has like a hand mirror, has a handle. Similarly, your face is like a mirror with the chin being the handle. And he says that handle is held by two people lovingly. One by your father Himavat Raja with Vatsalya Bhav. And then it is also held by Lord Shiva with Pranay, Preeti, Prem Bhav. Such is the chin of the Divine Mother. Anakalita sadrishya chibuka shri virajita. And then is the description. This is, till here was the description of the Vagbhavakut of the Divine Mother. Trikuta Kamakotika. This is the Vagbhavakut. Then comes Madhyam Kut. And this is where they start. Anakalita sadrishya chibuka shri virajita. Kamesha baddha mangalya sutra shobhita kandhara. Kamesha baddha mangalya sutra shobhita kandhara. Her neck is looking so pretty. The first thing that appears is the Mangal Sutra tied by Kamesh. Kamesha baddha mangalya sutra shobhita kandhara. Kanakangada keyura kamaniya bhujanvita. Kanaka angada keyura. Kanaka is gold. Angad is shoulders. Keyura is flowers. Kamaniya bhujanvita. She has so many ornaments on her arms, on her shoulders. Not only that, she has a beautiful garland of flowers that is resting on her shoulders. Kamaniya bhujanvita. Ratna graiveya chintak lola mukta phalanvita. Ratna graiveya chintak. In her neck she is wearing so many beautiful necklaces. They are full of necklaces. Ratna graiveya. Griva is the neck. Ratna graiveya chintaka lola mukta phalanvita. Many adorned with so many beautiful garlands. Ratna graiveya chintaka lola mukta phalanvita. Kameshwara prema ratna mani pratipanastani. And all those beautiful ornaments are resting on her two breasts, which signify her love. She took the love of Mahadev and doubled it to feed the entire creation. Ratnagraiveya chintaka lola mukta phalanvita kameshwara prema ratna mani pratipanastani. Kamesh prem ratna. She took the prem ratna of Kamesh, made it double, pratipana, stani. And her two breasts are nothing but Paramatma's love doubled up for this entire creation. Mani Pratipanastani. And then is the description of her waist. Her waist is so small. Tanu madhya tamopaha. Tanu madhya, very small waist. And on that waist she has worn a beautiful waist belt. That waist belt has ghungru attached to it, and all those ghungrus are making sound because she is Chaitanya Swarupa. She doesn't need to move for them to ring. They're just making chan 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 sound. Kamesha baddha mangalya sutra shobhita kandhara kanakangada keyura kamaniya bhujanvita ratnagraiveya chintaka lola mukta phalanvita kameshwara prema ratnam mani pratipanastani nabhya lavala romali lata phalakuchadvai. And the nabhi sthan, as if the nabhi, the space that exists around us, that space is her waist, and that nabhi sthan is antariksh. As if from the antariksh two latas have emerged, and those two latas have gotten two fruits. Those two fruits are the Surya and the Chandra. Her two breasts are the Chandrama and the Surya, and that nabhi sthan is the antariksh. From that antariksh they have emerged. Nabhya lavala romali lata phala kucha dvayi. Kucha is the two breasts, dvayi is two. As if from the nabhi, two latas have emerged, and the fruits are the two breasts. So as I said, we will go more into these names as when we get into Lalita Sahasranamam. And then mother's waist belt is described. Kwanat kanchi dama karikalabha kumbhastananata. Kwanat ranat kinkini mekhala. So Lata Phalakuchadvayi. And then comes the description of her Shakti Koot, which is from the waist all the way to the bottom. She is adorned in a beautiful red sari with yellow flowers on it. She is wearing the sari such that her ankles are well covered in that sari. Gudha Gulfa. Her beautiful feet, which have that beautiful pile that she is wearing, that is also making sound. Chan 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 chan. And she is seated on Kameshwar's lap. This is the description in Lalita Sahasranam. But right now the mother is still emerging. Her form has emerged. So finally Parashambhu and all the devas are witnessing the emergence of the Divine Mother as Lalita Devi or Lalita Mahatripura Sundari. And you and I got this saubhagya to witness the Divine Mother as they witnessed, from the top to the bottom. We will go into these names again when we take up Lalita Sahasranam, but still continuing on with Lalitopakhyan. So after the Divine Mother emerged, she stepped out of that Yajna Kund. Marali Mandagamana Mahalavanya Shevadhi. And when she was walking out of that Yajna Kund, Marali Mandagamana, like a hunts, a female hunts walking so beautifully. Marali Mandagamana Mahalavanya Shevadhi. Sarvaruna, she is completely red. Anavadyangi Sarvabharana Bhushita. So after she emerged from there, all the gods did her stuti, and then Lord Brahma said, Mother, now that you have emerged, we need to do your Pattabhishek. We need to make you the Empress. We need to officially have you sit down on the throne. But since the Shastra does not allow for an unmarried woman to sit on a throne, we would have to first get you married. But in every form that the Divine Mother takes, she only gets married to Lord Shiva, Parashambhu. So just when Lord Brahma thought that, okay, we are first going to create a city, a kingdom for you, and then we are going to do your Pattabhishek. But before that, you need to get married. So first he summoned Vishwakarma, who is the architect of the gods, and he said, create this beautiful Nagari, and it is going to be called Shriman Nagar. Shriman Nagar Nayika. It is going to be called Shriman Nagar. So he summoned Vishwakarma and asked him to create Shriman Nagar. Why Shriman Nagar? Because she is Shri Mata, Shri Maharagni, Shri Simhasaneshwari. So Vishwakarma created a beautiful city called Shriman Nagar. So in that Shriman Nagar, a beautiful throne, Chintamani Graha, and everything was created. And a beautiful throne was made ready. But now Lord Brahma started to think, Divine Mother as Lalita Devi, so beautiful, Mahalavanya Shevadhi. How can I get her married to Lord Shiva, who is Jatajutadhari, so many snakes around, adorned with snakes, elephant skin, elephant hide on him, with bhiksha bowl, trishul and damaru. Just before he was done thinking about this, Lord Shiva took a very beautiful form. Very beautiful form. And as soon as Lord Brahma looked at Lord Shiva, he was just amazed at looking at the beautiful form that Lord Shiva assumed. And he said, you look so beautiful. I cannot take my eyes off of you. And he said, I'm going to give you a name, because every form of Lord Shiva has a name. So today, because you are so kamaniya, so as if you're about to steal my heart and my mind, because you're so kamaniya, I'm going to name you Kameshwar. And because you're Kameshwar, she will be named Kameshwari. And then Kameshwar and Kameshwari. Then Swayamvar was done first, where the Divine Mother, who had appeared as Lalita Devi, then put the garland around Kameshwar, and then proper vidhi was arranged for them to get married. Then came the question, who is going to do the Kanyadan? Because she emerged out of the Yajna Kund. So Lord Brahma was like, okay, who is going to do the Kanyadan? At that point, Padmanabha Sahodari, she is the sister of Lord Shiva. Sorry, she is the sister of Lord Vishnu. So Lord Vishnu and Mother Lakshmi came up front, and then they said, we will do the Kanyadan. So Mother Lakshmi brought a golden pot filled with water, filled with Amrit, and they were pouring it on Lord Shiva's feet, and Lord Vishnu was washing Lord Shiva's feet for Kanyadan. And then finally Kameshwar and Kameshwari, they got married, and the Pattabhishek of the Divine Mother as the Empress of Shriman Nagar was performed. Bhandasur, his kingdom is called Shunyakanagari. Mother's kingdom is called Shriman Nagar. Today, let's end this satsang with the bhavana that this body is no more Shunyakanagari. From this moment on, this body is Shriman Nagar, and she is the Shriman Nagara Nayika, Shrimat Sabha Nayika, Kamakshi. With this bhav, let us end this satsang today. Tomorrow we will continue, and we will discuss what happened next. How she created this army and killed Bhandasur. Sarvam Shri Jagadamba Charanarpanamastu. Swasti. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shantihi, Shantihi. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.